For this week's episode of Hidden People, we are at the home of Susanna Tadevosyan in your beautiful gardens, which we hopefully will have a chance to walk around in. Yeah. Susanna, you are the president and founding president of an organization in Armenia called Bridge of Hope. It's a non-governmental organization that you founded and you have been running all these years. And it's to help and assist disabled children and their families. I'd like to know, I mean, in 1996, I mean, Armenia was still struggling. We were just coming out of the Karabakh war. The country's facing many, many challenges. And amidst all of that uncertainty, you created an organization to assist disabled disabled children in our family. How did that come about?
Yeah, thank you. The idea came to create Bridge of Hope still after the earthquake. And it happened that American organization Project Hope started a big rehabilitation program in Armenia, and I was working in that program, and one of my responsibilities was my direct contact with parents of children with disabilities. Frankly speaking, it was for me the first experience in my life to see children with disabilities, to be informed that there are many, many children with disabilities in Armenia, because during Soviet period they were really hidden people in that country, and the Soviet Union was declaring that there are no people with disabilities in the country. So
I'm just going to interrupt you, if I may. It's very interesting what you're saying, because just on our last segment, we went to Gyumri and we met with Dr. Armine Gümür Karabedyan. She said the exact same thing, that there were no psychological services because the Soviet citizen was a very happy person. And now the same applies to disabilities in our country. It's amazing.
Exactly. And maybe the majority of what you have said applies to people, children with disabilities, actually. Still this attitude, behavior towards these people continues to be in our country. But however, a lot of things have been changed since the establishment of Bridge of Hope. So what I wanted to say that after the earthquake in 1988, many people unfortunately faced the problems of disability in our country, and that's why the issues of disability became like actual that time. And after the Project Hope program in Armenia that established rehabilitation services, many children started to get proper rehabilitation, to be able to walk or to move around.
Do we have numbers? Do you know how many children, as a result of the earthquake, never mind those with existing disabilities, but after the earthquake, do we have a number of how many people had to live the rest of their lives with prosthetics or with other disabilities?
Yeah, there are more than 500,000 of children after the earthquake became with disabilities, obtained disability and got this support, rehabilitation support, like you mentioned, prosthesis, orthesis, and physical therapy, these kind of things. So, and as I told you, my direct responsibility in this program was my contact and work with parents of children with disabilities. And they were really happy with that rehabilitation program, that lastly the government paid attention to the needs of their children as well. But on the other hand, they were really sorry that there was no opportunities for their children to get proper education. Because again, during the Soviet time, these children were hidden in special institutions and got their education in boarding special schools. And that's why no one of us, non-disabled population, knew that there are people with disabilities living
among them, really, but they didn't know that.
And day by day, with this interaction with these parents, the overall mission, how to create an organization, became more actual. And already in 1996, a group of parents of children with disabilities and some professionals, among them me, decided to found Bridge of Hope NGO. And from the very beginning, our mission was to support the inclusion of children into society via proper social services and, of course, education. It was really the unique thing about Bridge of Hope is that it was the organization that from the very start considered the disability as a social issue, as a social problem, not as medical.
Susanna, I just want to ask you, I'm trying to think of the psychological and social difficulties that those parents had to face, first of all, having to deal with a child that had special needs. And sometimes, I'm sure, 15, 20 years ago, it was very difficult to get access to those services and needs. And then they had to deal with the social stigma, societal stigma of having a child who had disabilities, who was not accepted by society, because we tend to have, unfortunately, this intolerance still, I would say, regarding disabilities and that segment of the population. So we're also being able to provide some kind of psychological support for the families to deal with the problems? Of course.
After the family faces the problem of disability after the birth of the child, so the family has to get this support because they believe that when a child has got a disability, it means that children are not equal, the same like other children, and that is really a tragedy for the family and the overall burden. In Armenian families especially, this burden is put on the shoulders of mothers. Very often, even within the families, mothers are blamed, giving birth to a child with disability. And this psychological support and social support, which we call early intervention, is very important to support the families. And Bridge of Hope also works with these families using the resource of other parents. It is like peer-to-peer support when other parents really meet the parent who just
so you've created a network, a support system for them.
We really rely on the resource of parents because, yes, non-disabled people, professionals will, of course, try to support the family, psychologically support the family. They, however, deep in their heart, they don't believe in it. But when they see other cases of other families, other parents, how they can overcome these barriers and overcome the psychological and social barriers and support their kids, and how happy now they are, and their kids have achieved a lot of successes in education, in social life, so they become really encouraged.
I would like to ask you about mainstreaming or integrating children into the formal education system in Armenia, and what have been the steps leading up to that process? Have the projects where disabled children have been placed in formal public schools, how successful has it been?
Okay. As I told, that Bridge of Hope prioritized education of children, because without education, no socialization and improvement in the quality of life of a person could be. And after the establishment of the organization, we supported 5 children with disabilities, with different types of disabilities, to attend regular schools. By saying supported, we just negotiated with the schools, with the decision makers, because at that time the law actually somehow prohibited these children to attend regular schools. And after several years, 2-3 years, we as an organization, as leaders of organizations, as citizens, were really encouraged by the success that children demonstrated at schools. And it already in 1998, we started to negotiate and cooperate with the Ministry of Education, talking about inclusive education. And in 2001, we, together with Ministry of Education and School Number 27, we tried to pilot the first model school of inclusive school in Armenia.
It was in Yerevan?
It was in Yerevan, and it was due to also devotion to this kind of ideas of the principal of the school, Anahit Bakhshan. After piloting inclusive education in one school, we did a lot of mistakes, but also we learned from this experience, and we had already believed that it might happen in Armenia. Inclusive education is not just that children is in
the classroom. Sure.
In the classroom. It means a lot of adaptations in teaching and learning strategies, methods, so curricula, this kind of things. Of course, up to date, we are still working on that direction.
Sure, because you have to deal with the teachers, you have to deal with the students, you have to deal with the parents of the students who don't have disabilities and how they react to the children.
And also we have to deal with professional identity of teachers, because for many years they have taught and they have strong belief that education is something academic, that children with learning disabilities cannot get
and they could probably even hinder the progress and advancement of the other students as well. So you're having to deal with so many obstacles and barriers to achieve that.
Yes, but the most important is to change really the attitude.
Absolutely.
When you have success in attitude change, then every teacher can teach every child, actually, because there are a lot of methods that teacher can use and every child can learn, because you cannot find two children who are exactly the same.
Absolutely, yeah.
So all children are different. It means that teaching methods should be different, should be very individual.
And we're not very good at being flexible, I think, especially within the education system. Okay, I understand, you know, you're working for the organization, but it requires a level of passion and commitment to work in a field that is so difficult, it's so challenging. What is it that keeps you going? What is it that encourages you to continue working? Because I imagine you still have a long way to go.
Yes. Actually, for me, it's really very difficult to differentiate between where is the line between my personal life and my professional life.
Yeah, I think that line has been rubbed out.
As other members and family members of Bridge of Hope are, me as well, we are encouraged by every success that we see in every single child, and it is very encouraging, and it gives a lot of energy to go forward.
So you have seen progress, you see that there's hope. Government agencies are now, or the Ministry of Education is now more open to these kinds of changes. You would say that?
Yeah, exactly. Because just last year, the Ministry of Education decided to change the law about mainstream education.
Right.
And now the first draft of the law is in the National Assembly that says that expresses the will of Armenian government to change the whole system of mainstream education into inclusive one. It is really a political will of the
absolutely.
Why they obtained this will, or they were really sure that this is the right way? This belief was based on the past experience, 10 years experience of inclusive education in the country, and the last one in Davos. This project was supported by Norwegian government, and this pilot really made a revolution in the system of mainstream education, because it showed that really it is possible to make all the schools in the country mainstream and include every child in the system of mainstream education, and that the state budget, what is very important.
Of course, you need the financing to ensure.
Yes, with new revision of school financing, it might be possible.
So I would imagine that organizations like Bridge of Hope and other civil society organizations, advocacy groups, parents, families really pushed to ensure that the government, draft this legislation and submit it to the National Assembly.
Yes, of course. It is very, very important to empower these people with disabilities, their families, to take leadership role in promotion of the rights of their kids, their own rights. And when these advocacy groups, families, disability families, they claim for their rights, then the government really considers this quite seriously.
I think that's the message, isn't it? That we have to learn how to fight for our rights.
Yes.
Whether those are economic or social rights, or whether they're the rights of the disabled. And we often forget that we have to fight for everything that we deserve oftentimes, that that the Constitution of this country guarantees for all of us. So I think that's a very important message. But I just want to come back to 1 second, if we may, to your beautiful garden, because you have beautiful fruit trees and rose bushes and a lovely pool, and we're in the village of Arinj, which is just outside of Yerevan. So were you born and raised in Yerevan and moved here, or why is it that you live outside of Yerevan, where all your work is in Yerevan?
I was born in Yerevan, my husband was born in Yerevan, my son was born in Yerevan. It was just several years ago, 3 years ago, that I have decided to move, not to the village exactly, but
well, yes, you can't consider it village. I mean, it's stuck to Yerevan, really.
To live in a private house that has got a garden, because I really love garden, and when I come back very tired from my work, the only way to get rest is to take care of my trees, my flowers.
And to take care of Susanna. And to take care of yourself. So I hope that your garden and your home and your village life gives you that tranquility and restfulness that you need after doing all the kinds of very important and challenging work that you're doing for the disabled. So I want to thank you for taking the time to meet with us. And now I would really love to go in and not watch, but look at your tomato plants, because you have a lot of great tomato plants.
Okay, and thank you very much as well to think about Bridge of Hope, try to also demonstrate the work that has been led by the person whose name is Susanna Tadevosyan. Thank you very much, and it's my pleasure to guide you in my garden, to show you my flowers.
Thank you. So let's go.